everyone, and happy Easter. Welcome to Take Two Radio. I'm Pam, your host, and with me today co-hosting is Sabina. Hello, Sabina.
Hello, and happy Easter, everyone.
Yeah. Did you get your chocolate eggs?
Yeah, I just got through eating my last Cadbury egg, and I'm not getting any more.
I don't have any. This is so not fair. Well, maybe our special guest brought me some. He's a composer, a musician, and I'm hoping an egg hunter.
Of course.
Welcome, iZLER. How are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you two?
Oh, we're wonderful, thanks. We're very excited to have you on today. And I apologize for inviting you on Easter. When I sent out the invitation, I didn't even realize it was a holiday.
No, it's quite fine. And actually, I'd like to unreservedly apologise to all Easter bunnies out there. Actually, I think I might have threatened a couple on Twitter just now, but it's all in, all in the interest of a good revengey time tonight. So,
gosh, I can't wait.
I can't wait either.
They won't be barbecuing any in the Hamptons, will they, tonight?
I couldn't say, but someone's going to get barbecued, I would imagine. Might not be a bunny.
Well, as long as it's not a bunny, we're okay.
Yeah.
Now, I wanted to ask...
bunnies are safe.
Yeah, good. I wanted to ask you why you go by one name. Is it just easier that way?
It saves breath. No, honestly, it's actually my second name, and people have been calling me that ever since I was a teenager. Funnily enough, I've been thinking of going back to my first name is Phil, and it's spelled with an F-I-L, and so it's Phil Izer. So I was always thinking about going back to it, but it's kind of stuck now. So,
I
I
think it's too late to change.
Yeah.
I know, I've done it. It seems like a great idea going by a nickname when you're 25 and less so when you're 35 and beyond,
Right.
So there you go.
Well, at least it's part of your name, and it's not some kind of crazy nickname, that they come up with.
At least it's not, right, exactly. At least it's not total nonsense.
Right.
It's just partial nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
And Phil, that's such an easy name to go by, especially if you spell it so, your whole name is really short. Put it that way. I've been used to having such a long name. I read that you were raised a composer and multi-instrumentalist. Does that mean your parents were musical in some form or just wanted you to be in music?
Well, actually, my grandma was and is musical. My grandma, who's she's 96 years old now, but she still works as a music therapist. So she's she's sort of living proof of how music literally changes people's lives. In a very direct sort of way, and she was always a huge influence on me. And actually, my dad taught me to play guitar. My dad's not a musician, but he used to play Dylan songs and Beatles songs when I was a kid. So he taught me to play guitar, and then, I guess I just, I started playing in bands when I was very young, so it went downhill from there, really.
Well, I wanted to say about musical therapy, I believe in that so much because I know that no matter what kind of mood I'm in, I can find some kind of song, that if I'm happy, I'll dance with, and if I'm sad, maybe I'll get my tears out and feel better, or something. There's always some kind of music that's going to make you happy, sad, whatever, make you feel better.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a very powerful thing, and especially, in actual music therapy where they're working with severely handicapped kids and kids who, really don't have any means of communicating other than that. The results are pretty dramatic, really.
Right, and their voice can come out in an instrument by some type of music they can play.
Absolutely.
Yeah, speaking of instruments, besides guitar, what other instruments do you play?
Pretty much anything necessary. When I was in bands, I played guitar and bass and drums and keys occasionally, although I'm an absolutely terrible piano player. I'll be the first person to say that. But I sound like I've got boxing gloves on when I play with when I play piano. But that and a lot of writing for, especially a show like Revenge. There's a lot of working things out on piano because I'm writing for an orchestra. So the piano kind of becomes a tool for that. Even if tons and tons of piano on the show, but that's where a lot of the stuff's written, is me singing at the piano.
Right. So I was actually curious if you can briefly explain the process in which you score Revenge or any other film or show, and how you find the right melody to embody the story and characters.
I mean, to be honest with you, I can't explain it too much because I try not to question it too much. To be honest, it just sort of works, and I'd be terrified if I really quantified, how it came together. I'd somehow lose it. Yes, it's absolutely, it's loads of fun. I mean, it's the only way to really write the music that I do for a show like Revenge or any other TV show that this is have something inspiring to look at. Revenge is so much fun to write for, and so many great performances and so much great writing, and has such a specific style that I think everybody involved in the show has created. That I think that's sort of the inspiration for everything. And in talking about the right melody, I don't know. I look at. I mean, the main theme for Revenge came about just by me watching the pilot, really, and watching that first scene with the Fire and Ice party and everything, and that's when I sort of heard that melody in my head, and luckily it stuck,
Well, do you get to see each episode before it airs so that way you can make the music, or I mean, that would
usually
make sense.
Not with much time to spare, but I get to. By the time I get it, the episode is usually pretty much finished, minus maybe visual effects and things. I see a pretty locked edit, and and then I just set about writing it. Really just have to get on with it at that point because very little time left, and we have to record it with a live orchestra.
And that's where your talent comes in. Then, if you don't have a lot of time, you're very good at what you do.
Well, it helps if you know what you're doing. That's definitely good, but hopefully it works.
It works. I wanted to say that you're the first composer of a TV show that tweets with his fans, and it's a good thing because it made me pay more attention to the music on the show.
Good.
Yeah. Why did you decide to tweet about the show and get hooked up with this Twitter stuff?
It's weird. I just got into it. It's one of the things is that because I've written for other TV shows and I've written for plenty of films. And to be honest, before that, I haven't really gotten involved in Twitter that much. But I can't remember how it started, but I do remember that once I got, literally I sort of tweeted about Revenge at one point, and I got inundated with other people who watched the show. And, I just got sucked into it because the fans are so enthusiastic and so loyal. And the other thing is, the actors on our show are all very involved on Twitter. Some of their tweets are absolutely hilarious.
I know. Especially Gabriel Mann's.
I know. Well, Gabe's brilliant. It's really hard not to get spurred on by that. So it's all. The worst thing about it is usually when the show's on a Sunday night, I'm busy mixing the next week's show. So I'm in there trying to mix one show and watch another. It's bloody confusing.
I'm sure.
Well, when you have the attention span that I do, which is not that, not that lengthy.
Yeah. Are you considered a tweetaholic by your family and friends now?
I'm sorry?
Are you considered a tweetaholic by your family and friends now?
I'm not sure if they call it anything that polite, but yes.
Yeah. Well, I know that we all pretty much need a 12-step program when, because we've all come so big on Twitter and all social media, but especially Twitter. It's fun because you get to, talk to somebody right away. Right.
Sure. There's definitely an immediacy to it that I think other social media doesn't have. There's fun when the show's on to hear what people are saying.
Right.
Yes. I absolutely love that you're on Twitter. I wanted to say, with Revenge being such a huge endeavor, how do you have time to sleep, let alone tweet?
Who says I sleep?
Oh. Okay.
That's pretty much your answer right there. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I was curious what your musical inspiration growing up and or currently is.
Oh God, it's I always get asked this question, and it's well, number one, it's got a pretty lengthy answer. Number two, it's one of those things where somebody asks me and I immediately sort of go, oh, what was it? I completely forget. The things I always come back to were, I grew up being obsessed with the Beatles, and that was maybe Beatles, Elvis Costello, Dylan. Those were kind of my songwriting Bibles, I guess. And then, classical music I grew up listening to because of my parents and my grandmother, but didn't really start to study until much, much later. And, as far as film composers go, and modern composers go, people like Bernard Herrmann and Goretzky and Aaron Copland, and I could, this is a sentence that could go on for about an hour and a half. But there's a lot. There's a lot of I think very old school composers like Bernard Herrmann have a very direct influence on a show like Revenge for Me, because it has a sort of old fashioned component to it, being an orchestral score especially.
So now, I was wondering too. I don't know what the wand is called. I call it a wand.
The wand. It's that's what my family call it. They think I look like Harry Potter up there. It's actually called a baton, and it's really there to sort of ostensibly direct the orchestra with, but also you help your eyes out with to break on the podium if you're me when you get a bit over enthusiastic.
Well, I was just wondering how a band learns to know what the strokes are when you're waving it. Do they have to take a class for that?
You do. People,
I'm sorry, you're breaking up a little bit. It's hard to hear you. I think you're losing.
Can you hear me? Or Karen, you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you. Thank you.
Yeah, you sort of learn all the specific gestures in, music is a language like anything else. I think conducting is a very specific component of that language.
Okay. I figured there had to be a class, because otherwise how would they possibly know unless you taught them each and every time you were in front of an orchestra, and that would be crazy.
Right. When I point at you, it means this. Yeah, no, they know.
Good.
I would think that it's just like learning how to read music. You got to learn how to read the conductor as well.
Yeah, that's very, very true. That's like I said, most orchestra musicians kind of grow up with that, so it's second nature to them.
So I'm curious, is composing music different from writing a song?
You mean composing for film or TV? That being the case, yes, I would say so. Songs have a very different form usually. They have a very sort of cyclical form. Things get repeated a lot. In film and TV music, more often than not, it's you're following. The form is what you're following on screen. So it's